Good morning, and welcome to Coffee and Chaos. I am your host, Alicia. I'm going to be your chaotic voice of reason for the next few minutes here. So go ahead and grab your coffee and tea or whatever the hell it is you drink in the morning while you're getting ready for work or in the car or what have you, or wherever you are listening to me. And let's chit chat for a little bit. So, okay, this is my first podcast. So, it's like the introductory of everything. I'm gonna let y'all know what this is about, who I am, the whole vibe, and how I even got to this point. I know I sound like I've been doing this for a while. It's probably because I've been content creating. I do a couple lives here and there, talk to myself a lot. So I sound like a natural, I know, but I'm literally just sitting in the closet with my phone in my face. And that's how this all started. Like, I'm standing in my closet / content room, right? And I got a bunch of shit on the floor. And I'm just standing there. I got my coffee cup in my hand. I'm looking at 3 projects I done started. One I'm getting ready to finish. And one that's in the back of my head. And all of a sudden, I'm just like, look at all of this chaos. It's good chaos. I'm excited about this chaos. I'm not overwhelmed. I just got a lot going on. And with me having ADHD, I can handle all 12 of these projects at once. It's not a problem. And it's just like coffee and chaos. It just popped in my head. And so I was like, you know what? This is just a fancy catchphrase. Like, what are we going to do with this? So I kind of got on Chat GPT and I was like, okay, look, I got this catchphrase. I have this idea. What can we do with it? I have a print fi store. So I'm like, okay, let's put that shit on some merch. Let's put on some random ass merch. I was like, that's not quite where I was going with this. I did make me a journal. It is definitely a journal. But as far as merch, nah, we didn't really go that way. I'm thinking like more so this needs to be something communicated with the public. This is like a vibe. Like, who doesn't have a lot going on and it's just chaos? But it's like organized chaos. And the one thing that fuels my organized chaos is Amazon Prime. Baby, I tell you, Amazon Prime is a blessing and a curse for someone with ADHD, because when I decide I want to do something, I want to do it right then and there. I mean, Amazon Prime fast. So this morning, I was like, what the hell is stopping me from pressing record? I literally have a computer built in my freaking phone. So what did I do? Got on Amazon Prime, and Amazon Prime the shit I needed for it. And here we are. Episode 1. Now, okay. So how all of this came about, other than it being a fancy catchphrase, this is something that I have been kind of pushing back for a little while now. It's been in the back of my head because I like to rant and I like to babble and talk about, things that aren't really acceptable to talk about. Like, I didn't get to talk about a lot of things that I really wanted to talk about because being raised in a Black household, some of those, I guess, topics were taboo, like having ADHD. My mama didn't know I had ADHD, poor thing. I was driving her crazy. But I know I have it, and I recognize it in my kids. So I know how to handle it. And at first I was real hard on her because I felt like she neglected me. But then I had to really sit and think about it. When you grow up in the 80s in the Black household, we didn't really know about that shit, and we didn't really talk about it. So, of course, they didn't do anything to me but put me in special ed and tell me I needed to sit down somewhere. So I went from special ed to gifted and talented because they didn't know what the hell was wrong with me. Like, this bitch is too smart for these kids. But I was too rambunctious for gifted and talented. So I just went to school. I graduated, and that was that. But yeah, so like how I always wanted to do something like this, like performing has always been in my blood, but I was really too shy to do stuff like that. Like, I would sit in the bathroom on the toilet with like the shampoo bottle or the conditioner bottle, and I would like read it as if I was reading a teleprompter and pretend like I was doing a commercial for whatever shampoo or conditioner was. And that's actually how I used to practice to read, because I had dyslexia. So when I would try to read, I would flip my words around and I would get real self-conscious about that. So I taught myself how to pre-read so that I could not flip my words around and embarrass myself in front of my classmates. It's like, I could read, just give me a minute so my brain can descramble this word and then I'm gonna get it out, I promise. So I used to sit and practice that. Or I would pretend like I was one of the kids on the Disney Channel. Hi, my name is Alicia, and you're watching Disney Channel. Like, I wanted to be that kid. Or one of them corny ass kids that sang on Kids Bop. Like, I wanted to be that kid in the 80s and the 90s. And so I just always knew. And child, to this day, I love to dance, honey. Don't get a Chris Brown 8 count in front of me. I'm going to bust that dance down. Do you understand me? These knees may not handle it, but my brain still think I got it like that, honey. No, but seriously, I kind of go through life not wanting to be bothered by actual humans, because when you're neurodivergent and you have ADHD and people don't understand your concept and how your brain works, you really become afraid to go out in the public and express yourself. So having a podcast gives me the opportunity to express myself to those people who have something in common with me, instead of trying to judge me because you felt like you knew me your whole life and what I got going on mentally really isn't there because you don't see it. You know what I'm saying? So this gives me the chance to interact with humans without really interacting with humans. And so, like, the idea of Coffee and Chaos, this is like going to be a safe place for us. We're going to talk about all that different stuff. We're going to talk about why it's okay to feed our autistic kids chicken nuggets because that's their safe food, and what even is a safe food. And we're going to talk about neurodivergency. We're even going to get a little bit spicy because I have all of that going on. And so, like, this is going to be our place. We're going to talk about all kind of stuff that we normally wouldn't be able to talk about. And I do my research. So if you have any questions or concerns, feel free to send me an email. I will research that shit and get it up here for you guys. And so, like, storytelling has always been something that I've been good at. I've always been a journalist. My first story, I wrote my first animated story when I was in the 2nd grade. It was called The Number People. It was about people. Well, it wasn't about people. It was about a land, right? And it was full of numbers, but the numbers were like animated people. And so, like, it was people on one side and then the numbers on the other. And so what you had to do is you had to go to this big ass wall. And I remember because I colored the wall blue. I don't know why I remember that, but the wall was blue. And you kind of had to either tap on the wall or knock on the wall in a certain place, and it would like open up. And then when you went through the land, you would see walking numbers. Like the number 10 is what stands out in my head. It was literally an animated one with arms and legs walking next to a 0. Some Sesame Street type shit. And so that was my first story that I ever wrote. And then from there, I had been writing stories here and there. And then when I got in my early 20s, I started writing spicy poetry. Whoo, child. Let me get into the vaults and whip one of those out, honey. Yes. And those were based pure off of my imagination and what I anticipated things to be like. Like, I had never experienced any of that shit, but my imagination knew it was possible, and I just wrote poems. And so I got my first award for my poetry in 2004 from poetry.com. I entered an amateur contest and I won an award for that. And then I started doing like poetry night. Oh my God. The first time I did poetry night, that shit was a fucking rush that I never felt before. It was like pure adrenaline. And it was like, I did not want to ever get off the stage. I just knew that was where I was supposed to be, in front of those people, telling my story, sweating like a motherfucker because I was nervous than a bitch. But I did that shit. And the ovation I got at the end, oh my God, it was incredible. So it's like, oh my God. That was one of the best experiences I ever had. And so I did a couple of those, and then, fast forwarding, TikTok Live is, again, it's kind of like an outlet when you want to get up there and start talking about stuff, but I don't use my TikTok Live for that. I use it for business. So I don't really get to have fun up there because I have clients watching me. Hopefully they're not listening to my podcast, listen to me curse like a sailor. I'm like, no. I turn that off. I become very prestigious in front of the camera. And that's another thing too. Like, as soon as the camera comes on, my personality goes out the fucking window because I automatically feel like I need to perform for the client. And I'm sure the client does not want to hear me curse and say fuck every 2 words. So, it's like you got to learn your crowd, and this is my crowd. So I'm going to say fuck a lot. And if you don't like that, I'm so sorry. I'm just so sorry. But you're going to have a fucking blast if you keep listening. So like, what made me start my own business? Like, okay, I started my own business back in 2014. I started Mobile Nails by Alicia because, for one, I was paying too fucking much money getting my nails done, and they weren't doing the shit the way that I like. So I was like, fuck that shit. I'm going to teach myself. I taught myself how to do my own nails. And I was like, why don't I start a business doing that shit? So I was doing it for a little while, and then I decided to go to cosmetology school to get my license. Well, unbeknownst to me, cosmetology school don't teach you how to do fucking acrylics. So I literally wasted all my damn time in cosmetology school just to quit when I had it was maybe 150 hours I had left. Baby, I quit the shit out of that. I ended up pregnant with my twins. I had a high risk pregnancy, and they was wanting me to stand there and do bumper curls and curling rods and pressing rods and shit like that for free, while I'm sitting up there sweating and in pain and shit, carrying 2 whole fucking babies. So legally, they had to release me from my contract with the school because my pregnancy was high risk without penalty. So I was like, score. And it's folks like, why don't you go back and finish? Fuck that. Because what I realized is I like doing my nails. I don't like doing nobody else's, because, oh, honey, if you are as picky with your nails that I am with my nails, I'm finna give you your money back and tell you to go the fuck on to somebody else, because I don't have that kind of patience. Oh, baby, you want too damn much. No, ma'am. You're not paying me enough for this. Please go ahead on and take your funds back to whoever hell else you've been going to, because I no longer am interested in doing them. So I just do my own damn nails at this point, and I don't do anyone else's because it's not worth the trouble. So that was that. And then I gave birth to my twins in 2017, and my epidural was fucked. And so my back was messed up from 2017 up until now. My back is still fucked up from that. So I wasn't able to work traditional jobs in 2017. So I didn't know what the fuck I was going to do. I had been fighting TikTok because, I'm no follower. So I didn't want to get on the TikTok bandwagon like everybody else. But I had a friend of mine talk me into it around the end of 2020. And I was sucked right into that TikTok shit. I was like, damn it. And then the more and more I got sucked into TikTok, the more and more I realized, wait a minute, I could turn this shit into a business. Because I absolutely cannot go back to traditional work at the time, because I had to leave the house. I was fucked up. I couldn't stand up all day long or sit down. So I started hustling, and I went back to college in 2021. And I got my associate's degree in art. What a shocker. I got my degree in art, and it focused on marketing and business administration. So once I got my degree, I got my EIN, and I started Lovely LLB. We were doing lip gloss and body butters and shit like that, because that's all the shit that was on TikTok for you to start your own business, was literally, go buy your scrubs and shit and then you sell it. So I was doing that, making a little bit of money here and there. Nothing to feed my family, but it was like money here and there. And then COVID came. Once COVID hit, that opened a floodgate from work from home jobs. So in 2022, I was able to get a work from home job and ended up abandoning my business because, I had a job and I didn't really have time to work on my business and work, and I was still going to school. So something had to give, and unfortunately, and I say unfortunately, it was my business. So fast forwarding from 2022 up through 2026, I'm working from home. I'm able to sit down. It wasn't that bad. I was in a god awful pain, but it was bearable, to a certain extent, with some ibuprofen or shit like that. At the beginning of this year, I fell in Walmart. So now I can't sit or stand anymore. So I'm like, okay, you cannot traditionally work at all. So let's get back to the business. And here we are. We are at Coffee and Chaos, because why not? I'm not doing shit all day. Start your fucking business. But a little bit about me. Other than that, I'm a mom. I have 3 kids. My oldest son, his name is Xavier. He's 13. My twins, they are Kylie. She's 7 minutes older than her brother Kendrick. And right now at the filming or taping or whatever the fuck you want to call this of this podcast, they are 8. And we'll talk about how I had that natural pregnancy and how the epidural fucked me up for life in another episode. Baby, when I tell you, I said natural, okay? That means I felt it all. Yeah, felt it all. We'll talk about that later. Right now, I'm on medical leave from work. So June, I will be at my job 3 years, but I've spent the first 4 months of this year on medical leave. So I don't even know if that still counts. But that's that. And look, so like, yeah, that's pretty much how that played out. That's how we ended up here, back with my Coffee and Chaos. And I hope you guys continue to stay tuned and kick it with your girl. Get your coffee, get your tea, whatever the fuck it is you drink. And I will talk to you guys soon. Bye.